Yeah, welcome everyone to another episode of the MC65 FM podcast. My today's guest comes with the phrase PowerShell is fun. Join us. We talk with Microsoft MVP Harm Veenstra, a PowerShell expert, community contributor, and automation enthusiast. Yeah, helping IT professionals automate tasks uh, across multiple Microsoft technologies. Yeah, and we have the title today PowerShell is Fun, automating everything with PowerShell. Um, yeah, um, let's start with the name PowerShell is Fun. Why did you choose that name for your website?
Because it makes sense for me, I guess. I do actually enjoy and having fun creating scripts, the whole thinking process, being creative. So yeah.
Yeah, was there a moment where PowerShell stopping being just just scripting and became yeah fun for you? Was the special moment?
Um, when you finally understand the how and the why, and once you understand the logic, it's just your creativity that is the only thing holding you down to do more. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the most people, yeah, that's not fun what they first have in mind when they're power shell. But yeah, mm, what tip can you or trick can you give people to fall in love with it?
When you have to do a lot of manual tasks or repetitive tasks, which makes your job life a bit boring because you have to do them like every day. Once you realize you can start automating that and you actually see it working, meaning that you have more time to do more important and more fun stuff, um, then I think that's the moment that when you start to realize that, well, it actually makes my life better, easier, and I have more time to actually talk to people in the business with my project team or whatever, instead of just manually doing click ops all day. And then, yeah.
Yeah, and can you tell a little bit about the story? How did Charm become uh, or start in technology and became a PowerShell guy?
Well, this year I've been doing IT for 30 years. I was like 18 when I started working in IT. First at like a help desk or service desk. That's usually the place that people start their IT career. And I've just moved on from there, from working for internal companies to a consulting firm,
Mhm.
to becoming a consultant, uh, and actually starting doing more in the community, because that's the one of the reasons that I really like being an MVP and doing all these kind of community things. You get so much back from it. I learned so much from people in the community, and being in the community and giving back to other people. That's just great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that, especially the Microsoft community, it's really, really good to help each other. I see also
Yeah.
Microsoft does a lot for it. Let's see, Microsoft Learning Platform they have, and the MVP community. So they do a lot. I think it's especially Microsoft. It's really cool what they do. A lot of think a little bit, the automation mindset. When you look at IT today, where do you still see, too many manual processes?
Perhaps in smaller companies, when you only have like 2 or 3 people in your IT staff, uh, it probably makes sense if you don't have that many repetitive tasks to just do click ops, just clicking in the console or in the browser. Um, but when you start working at scale, then it makes more sense because you have more customers, more repetitive work, and the quality of the work needs to be better and consistent. And that's where automation does its best. Yeah.
When you have a consulting project or something else in a company, what is the first thing you say the IT admins should automate?
I think the whole user onboarding stuff is usually the one that is the most work. Creating users in Active Directory, for example, making sure that they're being synced to Entra ID, giving them rights, permissions, enrolling them in different types of software, setting up their clients, their Intune laptops, perhaps. Um, it's a lot of manual steps in which you can easily see the benefits of automating that because it's repetitive and it's not that fun anymore if you do it like 50 times in a few months. Yeah.
And how did you identify processes that's worth automating and which processes are not worth to automate?
Yeah, it's what the most scripting guys always tell you. If you have to do it twice, then you must script that out. Well, if you only do it like twice a year or twice every 2 or 3 years, then maybe. Uh, but it's more of a quality thing. If you script automate it, then you're absolutely sure that the outcome will be the same every time instead of, oh yeah, I just forgot that one step in a very large manual and now it doesn't work and I don't know why and I have to like redo the whole process again.
Yeah, I have a little bit look at your website, and I see you work across multiple Microsoft areas. You Microsoft 365, Exchange, Entra, Teams, iTunes, Azure, and SharePoint. Where did you see is PowerShell? Yeah, the way to go.
It's probably and that's what the most PowerShell people also tell you. When Exchange first started with adding PowerShell commandlets to Exchange on-prem, um, you could do a lot of things in the normal Exchange management console, but a lot of stuff you could only do on command line. And that was their first encounter of actually using PowerShell for a Microsoft product because you had to, because certain options were not available in a normal management console. Then you start realizing, well, if I can do this using PowerShell, and it's PowerShell 2.0, that's I don't know how many years ago exactly that was. But then you see the benefit. Oh, I can also use it for this. I can also use it for that. And if I could use it for that, then I can also use it to automate. And then you start realizing that you can do a lot more. And in the past, you probably did that with, and I also did that batch scripting, writing CMD or batch files. You could do a lot of things in that, but it's not comparable to PowerShell. PowerShell can
Mm.
do a lot more.
And yeah, where did you on which platform from Microsoft did you see yeah, the best growth in or the best chance for automation? Where I don't know, is it Azure or Teams or where is
Yeah.
the highest impact?
Uh, it first started for the biggest automation projects in Active Directory because that was the trend back then before uh, Azure AD came, also known as Entra ID right now. Um, but I think it's becoming like it is the standard. Every 365 product, every Azure product, even every Microsoft product has its own PowerShell modules, commandlets by default. If a new product is there, you can probably automate it by using PowerShell straight away. Um, so you
Well,
can use it like for every product, I guess. I don't know if there are any products which don't have a PowerShell interface because Microsoft Graph is everywhere
yeah,
in the
yeah.
365 and Answer world.
I also see, yeah, the graph API. I think it's also, yeah, it's a really great. I don't know.
Yeah,
Can I
some
call it
people
product?
really really hate it. It has its quirks sometimes, the Entra and the Graph modules, but for me they're just great.
Yeah.
You can do so much with them. Yeah.
I think really that's one of Microsoft's biggest, I don't know, coolest things they have ever built. I see it on, I don't know, I work with other enterprise solutions like Salesforce, and it's also they have buy this and buying this, and you have all these different put it. It's so hard to put their processes together from their different tools, platforms, and so yeah, I think that's really great what Microsoft have built here. Um, what are some real world examples where you have work on or was really interesting projects you work on PowerShell automation?
At this moment, I'm in a few projects in which I do a lot of migrations. A company who has a smaller company inside of it, which is moving out of that bigger company and has to be on its own. So it's usually a lot of migration projects, scripting that out, people moving from a Google platform to a Microsoft platform, and converting their calendar permissions or their Google Meet meetings to Microsoft Teams meetings and completely automating that. Uh, yeah, it's just things that make the user happy after the migration, giving me a lot less headache in the process. So yeah, uh, there are chances everywhere, but that's the thing that I'm in at this moment. Other larger projects would be the whole user provisioning part. Like I mentioned, it's one of the most uh, repetitive task for a service desk. Each month, people come in, people leave the company. You have to create accounts, update, modify, remove accounts, automating all those parts. That I did that a lot, and it really helps the people out, which have to do those repetitive tasks every time. Um, yeah, you
That's
see
really
benefits straight away, and that makes it a lot nicer instead of doing something which you actually don't see the results of straight away.
yeah. It was I've forgotten the name, but um, um I think it was on Ignite. Someone says PowerShell. It's the best governance tool you could have. um, when have you seen? I don't know, or can you explain a crazy manual process you have automated or you have seen?
Uh, it's so many larger and smaller ones. Yeah, integration with uh, services for Unix. That's something that in Active Directory you actually have fields for that for Unix UIDs and the whole automating of creating and linking Active Directory users to Unix systems and trying to get the latest UID because a UID is unique in Unix, but also in Windows. Discovering the last giving UID, incrementing that, writing that back. There was a whole back and forth between different platforms, and that's not something that I usually do every day. Uh, so you really have to investigate, and that's the part for investigating, being creative, and coming up with solutions. Yeah.
And is there, I don't know, is there PowerShell Copilot available or
Oh, you do have like GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code, so I think that helps a lot. People use a lot of Claude coding. I actually don't use AI at all for my scripts. I
okay.
just write them myself because I like to challenge myself, and sometimes it will take longer, but at least I will understand the script
Yeah.
after it's been created instead of having Copilot write you out or any ChatGPT tool or whatever, writing a script out which fails and you don't know why because you didn't create it yourself.
But see you a change in automation uh, that comes with AI, Copilot, and so on. Is there a change in your work in the AI area?
Yeah, I do think so, especially for project plans or uh, certain processes. You can see which ones were created using AI, but AI really helps you as an assistant for if you have like many project documentation or workflows inside of that. it can summarize, recreate those in a better like project plan. I see it more like an assistant helping you get rid of the boring, more intense tasks, and leaving you more with having to talk to the business itself instead of writing complete project plans. So
Mm.
for me, that's the ideal use case, helping me with all the other stuff next to the automation of it.
I think, I don't know, but I think sometimes yeah, a lot of people do automation with AI, and it's cost a lot of tokens. So I think it's
That's
not
not
cheap,
cheap.
and I think, yeah, PowerShell could be, yeah, sometimes has a better pricing. It's better in pricing to do these automations with PowerShell, or
Hmm. The whole amount of tokens. I actually read an article that it was cheaper to hire two new like meteor or junior developers instead of having to pay your AI bill that month.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome. Um,
people win then. Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, most times it's yeah, we learn it's on the other side. Um, when you say there it's an automation philosophy, uh, what's yours?
Um, yeah, well, you could like I have in my personal profile, automate everything. Yes, that could be your end goal, but it does have to make sense. Like I said, if you have to only do a thing like once or twice every year, you could probably automate that, but it's better to automate the most repetitive tasks, but also the ones that you absolutely need to be sure that everything is correct after running that. Because if you do it manually, or your colleague does it on a Monday and you do it on a Friday, and the outcome is different, no, it has to be consistent. That's what I like about automation. Things are consistent. You're sure that things are like this or that, and not perhaps. Yeah.
You have talked about, yeah, starter or people they hire, new hires. What is a good, yeah, project to start learning PowerShell from your perspective?
For you to learn PowerShell, for example, it's if you have like something that you need to do and you have like a real business case for it, then it's easier to learn and start working on that instead of that's what most people do. They try to learn PowerShell by doing simple examples, the same as I have with trying to learn Python. I try to learn Python many times, but I don't have a use case for it straight away. So then you start learning generic Python things in how you can count numbers, see processes, copy or rename files or whatever. And I think, okay, but I don't have something that I need to use it straight away. Um, and that makes learning more difficult. So if you have like a repetitive task that you want to automate because you're tired of doing it manually, then you have like a really good case to start learning PowerShell so that you can put that task away and do more interesting stuff instead.
And how hard or how important is understanding the PowerShell logic before, yeah, starting script writing, or can I start and hope it works?
Yeah, well, it's an object-based scripting language, and if you don't understand objects and properties and values, because that was when I first started writing my first PowerShell script. I didn't understand the whole object thing yet. I'm not a programmer. I'm just a scripter who did like batch scripting before that. Once you understand the whole object thing, that the object has properties and properties have values, and you have like methods in which you can change the values or query those values. Once that hits you, then it's so much easier to write scripts. But that's just an understanding of how things work, and then you need to know how you can get or modify, change those things.
And when we, or how do you stay? I don't know. There's not so many changes, but how do you still learning new PowerShell tricks, or yeah, how do you develop your skills in PowerShell?
Yeah, well, for me, it's easier because I have to do it for my job, obviously. But also, I write new blog articles every week, and
Mm,
sometimes I learn it on the spot while writing something. If I write something about uh, PowerShell classes, for example, it's not something that I often use, but when you write a blog post about it, I want it to be complete, and then I need to understand the whole logic behind it myself too. So when I start writing, I actually start learning stuff at that moment
mm,
and writing an article about it as if I was using it for years, which I don't. I just learned it at that moment. So that's how I learn new things. I just choose a topic which I'm not sure about how it actually works, and then I just write an article about it. And while writing, I learn the subject. Yeah.
and how important is the part of documentation in PowerShell?
Uh,
Power. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
but the documentation is always the thing that you do last, or not good enough. But documentation is really important because it's not important that you know how it works. Your new you or your colleague also needs to know that, and it shouldn't be like, oh, this is something that Harm created. Let's call him, but
like,
because I don't understand how it works. Your documentation should be good enough so that your colleague can understand and run it, and if he has some questions afterward or some edge case which you didn't take into account, or then the documentation should be enough. Just run it. If you have questions, sure, but the documentation should be good enough for everybody to understand it. And uh, I really disliked writing documentation, but now it's becoming like a standard, uh, because you have to protect yourself. If you only write things that nobody understands, they will keep on coming back to you and asking you, how does this work? Why did you do it like that? Documentation helps.
yeah, yeah, a lot. Yeah, I know a lot of people. They say the code is the documentation. uh,
Yeah, if you understand code, yes. But if you do something like really special, which is only applicable to that one customer, then just looking at the code will probably be like, I don't understand what's going on here. I should ask the guy who created the script because I don't understand.
and what role does GitHub play in your workflows?
Well, a lot. GitHub is the place in which you store your scripts, but you also have your revision history in it. And sometimes it's like really handy because you keep on updating scripts, and then you think it doesn't work anymore now. What did I change? And Git helps you in that. You can see what the changes were per each time that you actually commit your code to GitHub or GitLab. There are multiple Git products, GitHub being the more popular one. Um, it's good for documenting your code, sharing your code, having revisions on it. It's like a central repository. I think you had like there was a foundation server thing also for programs in the past. There was like an on-prem product, but it had the same technique: checking in and out code, making revisions, doing pull requests, letting other people check your code before actually committing your code. Uh, yeah, it's a great workflow system as well.
And do you version control all your scripts?
For the ones that are published on my website, no, I just commit to main, and the version that is there, that's always version 1.0, because there are like example scripts that I use in my blogs to show certain techniques. But within our company, it's much more strict than that. Yeah.
I think also that PowerShell is very, yeah, and Graph API are very matey. um,
Mhm.
and there, yeah, I think with big mate comes big, I don't know what Uncle Ben has said by Spider-Man or something like this.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
how do you approach security credentials management for PowerShell?
Storing credentials in scripts is a really bad idea. There were a few bigger hacks because of the GitHub repositories which were accessible on the internet, which actually had clear text credentials in them. You should always store them in things like Azure Key Vault, for example, or use certificates in your script so that your script does have the tenant ID, for example, or the application ID of your app registration, but you authenticate towards that using a certificate which is in your local keychain or a certificate store on your clients. Um, you should never store credentials in scripts. And I did that in the past when you first start out scripting and you think, well, my script is somewhere on a management server in a closed down scripts folder. But no, you shouldn't do that. You also have the local key management feature in Windows that you actually have like a local key vault like thing. The secret management module takes care of that. It's just general best practice, and there are so many examples which will show you that you shouldn't do that. Yeah.
Then you also have to work with tools like, I don't know, Key Vault or Logic apps to, okay. Um, but you think it's when you, or is there best practice for security? I think Microsoft for the fabric or stuff, for the data stuff, they have a lot of these gold standard things. Is there anything else for PowerShell?
Um, it probably depends on which platform you're connecting, because PowerShell doesn't limit itself to only Microsoft products. It could be Google or AWS or any other platform. But I think the concepts are the same. Role-based access control, using a key vault-like system, using certificates, no clear text credentials in scripts itself. Um, yeah, conditional access things, making sure that your client is actually compliant of a certain location, or that you're not like a risky user before you actually start the script, or having access to your 365 tenant. Um, security best practices, I guess. Yeah.
It's really awesome. I think what you say that you, and that's nothing I know before. You can really work with other not Microsoft tools with PowerShell.
Yeah, sometimes vendors actually create PowerShell modules for their products, even though it's not a Microsoft product. Usually the module has a lot of commandlets do which make it easier to do API calls towards a product. It's just like wrappers or commandlets using API calls to manage their products, returning objects to you, making it easier to do reports on them or whatever.
Awesome.
I think a lot of products use PowerShell modules to manage it. It's becoming more of a standard. Yeah, that and probably Python modules as well too. But that's not something that I use myself. But yeah,
And how does it? I don't know. When a product update and so on comes, there, how can you monitor or track these changes if you have to, I don't know, to change anything on the script? Is there something like alerts or so?
uh, Sometimes you get like information from Microsoft itself, like the MS Online or Azure AD and Azure AD preview modules. They
Mm,
will start communicating like I think 2 years ago that it will be deprecated. Then they will put out a date like in August of 2025. This product will no longer or can no longer be used to manage this aspect of 365, and then they probably will postpone that for a few months again because not everyone is ready for it. But there's a lot of communication about the bigger things. But sometimes you have like breaking changes when you update to a newer PowerShell version, or Microsoft updates their backend platform to something. Then you just find out that your script doesn't work anymore, and
mm,
then you probably need to update your PowerShell modules itself. You have scripts for that as well. Uh, but sometimes your modules just don't work anymore because they have become deprecated because they're using old technology. So it's for me it's easier because I read a lot of PowerShell community stuff. My whole LinkedIn page is probably full of articles of people. So that's my notification system, I guess. But Microsoft really gives you a long period before they retire modules that used to work but are now deprecated. Just reading the news, I guess, and the information emails that you get from Microsoft as a technical contact for your tenant, for example. It's also in the message center. Uh, they will post regular updates on that. If you follow the message center in your tenant, you should already know this. But
okay,
yeah.
but there's no monitoring tool or something you can use.
Um, if you have good scripts and pipelines, they will report it to you, or do like pester tests on them to see if the functionality still works and if your script breaks. And if it does, then you know that there's something wrong. And you'll probably need to find out from did somebody update something, has something changed. But yeah, you should have some monitoring in your pipelines or in your scripts when building newer versions or testing them, that the script, and also important, the script needs to stop if something doesn't work. If
Mm,
something in your script doesn't work, but your script keeps on running and probably destroying stuff afterwards, then no, you should always be aware that some steps in your script might fail, and you need to stop and notify them straight away instead of trying to run the remaining part of the script and potentially destroying things.
and how it's the fine ops part in PowerShell? Is it paid by, I don't know, computing, or how does that the payment works?
Um, Yeah, well, running it on your local workstation. Okay, you already paid for your workstation, but there are like for pipelines, there are like runners, like little instances that get started during the process, and they run your scripts. Um, for GitHub Actions, you have a certain amount of free usage, I guess, and also in Azure. But if you have like the really longer running scripts, it will probably cost you some compute, and it depends. You can scale that to larger units, costing you more, but then your script is done in like a few seconds, or you have the budget version, and your script just takes longer, but it's cheaper. But that there is for automation at scale, there is some cost in running those, but usually it's not that much, I guess.
Mm,
But like everything in IT, it depends.
yeah, yeah, that's really true. Yeah, but I think it's not the most expensive tool Microsoft about. Uh,
No, no, no. There are much more expensive ones. Yeah.
um, yeah, when we think, I think back, or yeah, when you start a project, you also need, I think, you have the stakeholder and the sponsors, the management. How did you, sell or yeah take the management in the automation process?
Well, I work at a pretty large Microsoft partner in the Netherlands, in Spark. You can probably see the logo in my wallpaper against the wall. This is our actual office. It's probably an older picture, but it always looks like I'm at the office, but I'm at home right now. Uh, for us, it's normal. You should always automate things because it just makes sense. But if you do projects for or work in a smaller company, then you have to convince your management, and you can always only do that, I guess, um, if you have certain things that would normally take up a lot of time, like weekend hours, for example, for doing certain things, and you can show or prove them that automating that eliminates working in the weekend or working in the evening, or spending a lot of more time on normal day-to-day operations. um, it will sell itself because it will make your work a lot more efficient. But if you have to spend weeks in creating scripts for doing stuff that you only do a few times each year, for example, uh, then it's hard to sell, I guess. So
And let's a little bit talk about the Microsoft Graph. Um, what's your favorite graph use case?
If graph use case other than user creating, updating, I actually use it for a lot more things now. Like I said, a project for automatically converting Google Meet meetings to Microsoft Teams meetings. That's a really nice Microsoft Graph use case in which you can completely automate that using all the 365 services that it connects. Um, Almost every part of the 365 services and the Entra portal, you can automate that using Graph. There are actually tools for that from Merrill Fernando. You probably heard of him. He works
Mm,
for Microsoft. Tools like Graph X-Ray, like that's like a plugin in your browser, which you can use in a developer mode to see what graph commands were actually being used when you click around in your admin portal. And then you know what Graph API endpoints it hits, and then you can automate that. It it makes stuff so much easier. They did a change on that beginning of April, so you don't see which PowerShell modules you should use to do the same action. The same goes for the Graph Explorer. It also had that feature, but it does show you which invoke MG graph request it does, which API endpoint it hits. Um, so using those tools, you can actually see while clicking around in your management portal, doing ClickOps instead of automation, what you should do to automate that. So the integration is really there. So hats off to Merrill because he makes my life a lot easier.
yeah, and see you graph its upcoming knowledge for modern IT admins, or is it,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's completely bound to all the Microsoft Online services, but the way of working, if you can do that, and you know how those things work, you can probably automate a lot of other things. Um, Using PowerShell on different platforms, it's usually the same technique. Every platform has its own things, but
Mm,
if you understand the technique, you can do every platform. Um,
okay. What's your opinion on GUI first administration?
oh yeah, it gets the job done, I guess. It will only take you longer. Um, but if you do it using the GUI because that's the only thing that you have, um, then it will always exactly do what you want, because a lot of the fields that you have to fill in using the GUI, they have like don't use a special character here, or this has to be this many characters, or the GUI really helps you understand the things that you have to fill in, and if there are certain conditions while filling that in. and then you can automate that because you already have that knowledge, and then you know what fields you should at least use, which are the required fields, etc. But uh, I only use GUIs to quickly see things. But if you really want to see things, then you have to use PowerShell. Yeah.
When you have to rank PowerShell comments, what's your all-time favorite?
The one that I use most is, and that's what most PowerShell people will tell you, is get help. Get help for getting the help things of a certain commandlet. Get method, show all the methods that a certain commandlet has. Those are the things that I use most frequently, I guess, because that's what I always do. Try to discover what the capabilities of a certain module are, what methods does it have, and what can I use to automate things. Um, and those are always there because that's the fundamental thing of PowerShell. Those things are always there.
And what is the, I say, the most or the yeah most used keyboard shortcut every PowerShell expert is using?
I think my tab key is the most worn out key on my keyboard because um, I did Cisco switch programming. I'm a CCNP as well, so I did a lot of Cisco. Um, when you're in a Cisco command line, you just type a few characters and you hit tab, and then it auto completes to your command. That's also available in PowerShell. So the most key that I use in PowerShell is probably tab completion. It's great. Sometimes I see people typing out a complete command that you can just use tab or shift tab when you want to go back one position. If you over tap, then you can use shift tab to go back. So first key that I use is probably tab. Yeah, I tap a
Yeah.
lot.
Awesome. I have looked a little bit, into the PowerShell blogs and so on, and I have taken three quotes, and I read the quote, and you tell me what it's mean to you. Okay. So the first quote is: "Automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency." Oh, goddamn.
So again, I didn't
Yeah.
quite catch that.
Automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency.
Yeah, it will definitely magnify the efficiency of your environment a lot. And that's the thing about PowerShell. It makes things a lot more efficient, repeatable, scalable, uh, with trustworthy output because you're sure that the output that you're getting is real, and it's been tested, and it will always give you the same output. Yeah.
And the best script are the no one's noticed because everything just works. Does invisible automation mean successful automation?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also the danger of automation, I guess. If everything in the background is good or sufficiently automated, things just work automatically, and people will start forgetting that it didn't. It was not always that case. Sometimes people don't know how certain things are suddenly there because your background PowerShell scripts keeps on creating, adjusting, making sure that things work. If that automation stops, then people will have a hard time discovering why things are not there automatically anymore. But yeah, if your script just work fine, then you can't explain it to your manager that you really need to do more PowerShell scripts before, because if it will think it already works, you don't have to do anything yet because you already automated that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got unemployed.
Well,
um,
if you could automate yourself out of a job, and I don't really mind doing that because then you would have done the good things, and you can do that at another company as well. Yeah.
Community is where knowledge becomes impact. Why is community so important for in the PowerShell world?
Not only for the PowerShell world, communities is always great, even when you're not in IT. Having like-minded people around you, it just elevates everyone. Sharing knowledge will increase the global knowledge of everyone in your team. And because people really enjoy a certain product, no matter what it is, it could be PowerShell, could be Exchange, could be Teams or whatever. Having enthusiastic people around you, sharing ideas, it's just great. It's having the best friends, but then in IT, yeah.
Okay, now we come to my favorite part of the of every episode. It's the rapid fire round. It's only so fast answers. You say the first thing that come in your mind, and I ask some short questions. So that's the rule. So um, dark mode or light mode on?
Dark mode. Yeah.
Most underrated Microsoft product.
Ooh, underrated Microsoft products. Oh man. Uh, I use them all to to a pretty large extent.
VS
Uh,
Code. Uh,
no, VS Code is not underrated. Phew, that's a really good question. I don't have like a specific Microsoft product which I only use and people don't even know about. I guess. No, not sure.
okay, no problem. Um, yeah, um, Azure or Microsoft 365.
Sorry.
What's better, or what's more interesting, Azure or Microsoft 365?
For me, it's actually Microsoft 365 because I did most things in that. Yeah,
And what's your favorite PowerShell module?
it's my favorite PowerShell module. Um, it's it's PS readline, and it's something that is almost automatically in PowerShell nowadays. Um, but it has like when you type a few characters, it will autocomplete from your history. So if you rerun certain commands a lot, you just type a few characters and your previous history will always be there. So PS readline makes navigating through your PowerShell commands that you used in the past a lot easier. So it has so much great functionality. So yeah, PS readline. Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, so we have come to the end, and yeah, my final question is when listeners remember only the thing from this episode, what should it be?
Learn PowerShell. Just do it. If you keep on backing off on that and postponing it, don't do it. It will make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, then yeah, I will say thank you, Harm, for joining the session.
Thank you.
And yeah, your PowerShell is fun.com. I think the people should you visit this. We do put it in the show notes so the people can see all the information in the show notes. And yeah, so this was really interesting, and I hope or I think it's will a lot of people will now try out PowerShell and look what it is and what yeah brings. So thank you for staying here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah.